homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, here we are in the basement. This video come out mid-March, and we're looking at seed viability of what I've got down here. Certain things have different rates of decline. Now, all I do to save my seeds. Now, for you preppers out there, you can go and buy that 25-year seed container or whatever. Don't trust it. It has to be heirloom seeds, has to be savable. Also, the learning curve for planting a garden is pretty steep. So chances of being successful at that if you've never gardened before are really not that good. So always plan to have gardened previously before you have seeds, and save heirloom seeds. I save my own seeds. Now that doesn't mean that Crystal and I don't buy a seed packet or two, okay? I haven't figured out how to save seeds from cabbage. I'm sure there's a way. I haven't figured out how to save seeds from cauliflower. I know how to save seeds from broccoli and most of the other stuff that we grow. Right here, this is another example. This is candy corn, okay? It's one of the super sweet varieties. You cannot save seed to that. It doesn't come back. It's a hybrid corn, so you can't save those kind of seeds. So I keep a stash. Well, how long will those last? Well, on our Facebook page, there's this sheet. And I'll flash it up here on the screen. But this sheet tells us how many years seeds are viable for. Now, this candy corn I bought last year. Okay? I bought it last year. But here's the deal. The place I bought it from, this might be 2 years old. Does that make sense? I bought it at a little seed house right here in town. These might be 2 years old. They might have bought a big bunch last year, or big bunch the year before last. So these might be 2 years old, so that means that they're 3 years old today. Well, if I look up on my list here, corn, sweet hybrid, they're only good for 2 years. So if this is 3 years old, the germination rate is going to be way down. Okay? But I've got plenty to plant all I need. Now, so we've got our corn. Of course, I plant candy corn. Then I've got okra. I saved okra seed this year. So I know this okra seed is good. But the thing about okra, it starts losing its fertility after the first year. I'll get probably a 90% germination rate out of this okra this year. But next year, if I keep this same okra seed, I'll only get about a 50% germination rate. And the year after that, about 25%, and I needn't even plant it the year after that. So okra is one of those seeds that doesn't last long. Sunflowers. And that's not on my list. I have planted 7-year-old sunflower seeds and have them come up. Okay? So I really don't worry too much about sunflowers. These are from 2020. This is the Russian mammoth. You've seen us plant them in previous videos. So this is enough for me to plant a full row of sunflowers and get more seed back. But based on the amount of seed I have now, I'm going to have more for next year. Then we've got our pole beans. There's white half runners from 2017, but I'm sure I've got some from newer. Cranberry beans from 2016. The thing about beans, they last for 3 to 5 years. So this is 2021, so this would be maybe 90% viable in, this is from 2016, if we go 5 years, that would be 2021, that may have been 90% viable, but now I'd say it's probably 50% viable, but I can still plant these seeds and get something out of them. The same thing here with these 2017 white half runners. My white greasy beans are in 2020. Now if I don't get to plant these, I didn't plant any greasy beans last year. And this year I don't know how much I'll get to plant. I have so many irons in the fire, and I've had some health issues that I'm going to have to address. So I don't know how many of these I'll get to plant. But these greasy beans from 2020 will be good till 2025 and still give me about a 90% germination rate. One other thing you can do. I keep these in a tote. I keep them in the basement in a cool, dark place. But if I put these in the freezer, okay? If I put these in the freezer, and they're good for 5 years, out like they are right here. This sheet is all based on just stored in a tote, 5 years. If they're good for 5 years, then if I put them in the freezer, they're good for 10. Okay? The freezer will double that life expectancy. Doesn't do it with everything, but most stuff. There's my banana pepper seeds from 2020. My Cherokee purple seeds from 2020. Bell pepper seeds, 2020. Gypsy pepper seeds from 2020. And if we look up pepper on that list, peppers are good from 2 to 4 years. So this is 2023, so these peppers will be pushing it. So I need to plant some and save some pepper seeds this year, if I can. Here's the big yellow tomatoes from 2020. Again, tomatoes are good for 4 to 5 years. So I'm not worried about losing seed to my tomatoes. Here's our mesclun mix for our lettuces. Now I buy this. This is like if you went to Walmart and bought spring mix, that's what this is. It's going to be not too long before we plant this. Then of course, my favorite bean, I always keep plenty. Our 6-week beans saved from 2018. And there's 2018 also. So I've got these. I need to plant and save 6-week bean seeds this year because 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23 is 5 years. So I need to save another batch of these for this year. So I'll plant a couple rows and just plan to save them. Of course, here's okra seed. Okra seed from 2020. This is 2023. So this okra seed, only about 50% of it will germinate. White half runners from 2020. I'm good there. They're good for 5 years. Speckled greasies from 2017. We're pushing it on these. I really need to plant some of these. I don't think I have any from 2020. I think I've only got this from 2017. Well, I've got cranberry beans from 2020 and cranberry beans from 2012. I doubt if these will come up. We might have to plant some of these 2012 cranberry beans and see how they do. I dropped something. Peanuts. I have not had any luck growing peanuts here on the farm. These peanuts are 2 years old. I don't know how long they'll last, and there's nothing in my list that tells, so I might plant a few of these, but I haven't had any luck with the peanuts so far. More greasy beans, of course. Cherokee purple tomatoes from 2020. Now, I did an experiment, and you can go back and look at it. Let's see, what's that? Oh, there's the mortgage lifter tomatoes that we grow, and they're from 2020. You notice I put a tag on them so I know when and what they are. And then here's garlic bulbils. Now, I bought these from a garlic supplier in 2018, and I just never got a chance to put them in the ground, and I probably ought to put those in the ground and see if they'll come up. I kind of doubt it this long ago, but who knows? Let's see what's in there. This is the tenderette bean that I tried a couple years ago. It's probably 3 years old, so I might try and plant some of these again and see how they do. But I'm trying not to make my garden go out of the frame. And there's the early sun glow sweet corn. I didn't care much for it. I wasn't a fan. But mixed in here, I've got all kinds of hickory cane corn that I really need to get seed back for it this year. Hickory cane is sold locally, and our local little hickory cane seed is sold locally, so I can get it back if something happens. And then in this bag, I've got all the straight 8 cucumbers and pumpkins and that kind of stuff from 2019, and Cherokee purple tomatoes from 2019, Market Moors, cucumbers. I've got these Alabama black butter beans that a friend of mine sent me from Texas. And I tried to grow them here, and they just did not do good. I might plant a few of these and see if they'll do again. I love butter beans. Crystal and I love frozen butter beans. But we haven't had a lot of luck raising our own. And shelling them, I'm not a big fan of shelling them. So at 99 cents a pound, sometimes it's just easier to buy them. And they're already frozen, so they fit in with our prepper lifestyle. They fit in. We just put them right in the freezer. And maybe I'll show you one day how we cook them. I really like them. Anything else in here? I have all kinds of other stuff in here. There's mustard seed. There's turnip seeds and 7-top turnips. And what we got here? Brussels sprouts, rabini, sweet banana pepper, Swiss chard. I've got all kinds of stuff in here, and then I could go through this. I love to go to the dollar store when they're selling out their seeds, and I get all the seed I need for things like cabbage and cauliflower and that kind of thing that I don't know how to save seeds for. That I've looked up, and it takes 2 years worth of time to save the seeds. So again, this is all a learning process. I even have some flowers here, zinnias, that are supposed to help with insect control. So don't be afraid. Leeks. Leeks is something I've never saved seed from. Onions either. Most of the time I buy my onion sets. I'm going to buy onion seeds in the next little bit and start trying to save more of my onions. See, here's my candy onions right here. I'm going to start trying to save more onion seed. Probably Walla Walla and Spanish, because those make big onions, and you can use the seed to disperse them and then plant them as sets. Not as sets, but as I can't think of the word. I hate it when I get this way. Not as sets, but as transplants. You pull them up, cut the heads off, and then transplant them, and then in the early spring, and then they will grow. You plant them the fall before, you let them overwinter, and then you transplant them into the rows you need. And those make the big onions. Then you can buy the onion sets that are already done. They're little bitty onions like that, and then you can plant those. So there's a huge learning curve to gardening. Now, I've been gardening since I was 8 years old, and I'll be 60 this month. I'll be 60 in a couple of days in reality. So being 60 and gardening for ever since I was 8 years old, that's 52 years. So I've grown everything from pumpkins to watermelon to squash to cucumbers to beans to corn, soybeans. Okay, we've planted it all at our property, our family property. Now, since we've moved here, I've concerned myself with mainly vegetables. I do grow some sunflowers. I grow corn to eat. I don't grow corn for animal consumption. When I was a kid, we used to plant corn to feed to the hogs. That was what we planted, large spots of corn, and we fed the hogs with them. It may come back down to that in future years, but I may be getting too old to do that anymore. That's a lot of hard work. Now, you don't have to spend a fortune on getting your seeds together. Let's take these speckled greasies, for example. Now, of course, speckled greasy seeds, these are from 2017, and I've got to plant them this year because this is 5 years, and they won't be good past that. So I've got to get speckled greasies back. But getting your bean seed, you don't have to have a pound of seed in order to get started. These seeds are easy to save. And I've done several videos, and you can go back and see those. They're easy to save. If you get an ounce of seed, you'll have enough seed to plant a 100-foot row next year. Okay? You get an ounce of seed this year. Plant them. Harvest the seed back. Don't worry about harvesting something to eat. Harvest the seed back. When you get the seed back, you'll have enough seed to plant a 100-foot row. Then you can harvest seed and eat. Okay? That's the way that works. So a garden is not planted this year and done. You have to plan for your garden 6, 7 years in advance sometimes. I plan all the time for this. Now, you can go back. The seed viability chart is on our Facebook page. It's not on our YouTube page. I'll try and put a link to it down in the description here. But you can do this. It's not hard. Anybody can raise a garden, save their own seed, and do these kinds of things. Like I said, I've been doing this for 58 years. I've done it ever since I was 8 years old. Was out in the field, hoeing and cutting weeds and pulling weeds, and you know, at my age though, I'm getting to where I have to do things in a certain way, and I do them in a way that my back can take it, my heart can take it, my lungs can take it. I have to do my gardening in a specific way, and a young person could do my gardening a lot faster than I do. Obviously, you know, I'm no spring chicken anymore. So when you come to the channel, understand that I do my gardening my way because of my disabilities. And you can modify your gardening your way because, listen, gardening is an experiment. It's an enjoyment. Get out there and do it. It's one of those things that when you're out in the garden, nobody else is out there with you. Nothing's out there with you. You're communing with nature and with God. Okay, now if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading, prepping, sustainable living kind of stuff all the time. Sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now if you hit the little bell, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.